After the four of us hiked 70 kilometers across Japan on the Kumanokoto Trail, Bryan had to head back home, but the rest of us still had about a week left in the country. Our friend Darrell was initially going to take us hiking up a mountain, but unfortunately he ended up not being able to make it. So instead, he planned a road trip for us using Japan's vast train network that would take us all over the country. The town of Hida, famous for its beef, the traditional village of Shirakawa-go, biking in a resort town, the fish markets of Kanazawa, the famous hot springs of Kusatsu, and all the way to the western coast of Japan.
All right, see you, Bryan. See you on our next trip when it's a 3-mile hike through the woods in the fall. All right, see ya. We had seen Bryan off on his way back home. After a night staying in a hotel room, we headed out into the streets of Tokyo to head back to the train station, taking in all the sights along the way.
Eventually, we reached the train station, where we headed to the JR Lines, Japan's network of local and national trains.
Our local line arrived, and we got on board, headed for Tokyo Station. Japan has a highly developed network of railways stretching over 30,000 kilometers in total, and serving over 20 billion riders every year.
Although many railways still run on fossil fuels, their emissions are far lower than cars and planes, and some of the rail systems in Tokyo run entirely on renewable energy. And even as tourists who don't speak the language, we found it really easy to get around the city by train.
We arrived at our stop and made our way into the station. From here, we would catch the Shinkansen, one of the bullet trains that stretches across the country.
The station sells a variety of packed meals called ekiben. On our way to the platform, we perused our options for breakfast.
We arrived at our platform, and our train showed up shortly after. We got on board and enjoyed some hash brown patties while cruising at a speed of 320 kilometers per hour.
The train sped through the outskirts of Tokyo, and the dense city landscape gradually faded into a more and more rural scene. In the distance, blue hills rose above the horizon, and at one point, we even saw a majestic view of Mount Fuji.
A disc-like lenticular cloud had formed at the top of the mountain, accentuating its majestic appearance.
The skies became gray and overcast as our train passed through various smaller towns and cities. Eventually, our train stopped at Nagoya, a city west of Tokyo, and we transferred to another train.
We left the city limits and again saw more and more rural scenery. As we sped further into the countryside, we were treated with stunning views of rivers and mountains.
Misty clouds hovered between the mountains, which surrounded the valleys of vibrant turquoise-colored water. Being able to witness rural Japan from our vantage point on the tracks was quite stunning.
Dude, you look at some of the landscape out here, and it's incredible that not only do they have people living out here, but they've got train tracks, roads, power, everything goes through all this like incredibly harsh landscape.
A lot of it reminded me of the Kumanokoto, and I'm just like, how did we walk through that?
Quaint homes stood by the riverbank, and a small cemetery was tucked into a peaceful hillside. It was striking how different this landscape felt to us.
One thing that stands out is how incredibly clear the water is
passed through a handful of small towns. Now fully spoiled by the creature comforts of civilization, we noticed the train's climate control was a bit lacking.
So I have this theory that when you first get on a train, they have an air conditioner nice and cool, and then every stop it brings in a couple of degrees, so that by the time you get off, you cannot wait to get off.
It's kind of humid on this train. This air is not being conditioned.
But before long, we arrived at our destination, Takayama, a small city in the mountains with a population of 88,000 people, known for its historic streets and buildings.
We made our way out of the station. On the way out, there was a variety of historic artifacts on display.
What do you think about these knives?
Yeah, I see they have lots of chisels, and this is a nice little thing for stripping wood. That's for like leveling out and planing wood. And that'll shave like super thin pieces off. Japanese saw here.
Can you imagine if you took a saw like that camping?
After that, we finally stepped out into the
man.
open air.
Oh, that fresh air smells so good.
Oh, that is our hotel. So whatever we do today, we just need to be back there before nightfall, basically.
Sweet. Cool.
After several days hiking the Kumano-kodo, we were surprised how contemporary this town felt, despite being relatively small. So this place is also much more bustling and modern than I expected, which that sounds kind of close-minded, but some of those villages we visited on the trail were so rustic, whereas this has its older parts, but there's also more newer built-up parts.
This certainly was no rural farming town. There were plenty of modern amenities like this supermarket with a strangely familiar logo.
This ain't no Whole Foods. This is a Boss Foods. So already I can feel the relaxation and the fun that we're gonna have. And I just gotta say, we gotta apologize to Bryan. The whole point was he came here to do the easier of the two trips. And because of this last minute rescheduling of everything, he did not only the harder of the two trips, he did probably the hardest trip we've ever done.
We stumbled around aimlessly for a bit and came across a temple. Ruins of the provincial nunnery main temple.
Though we had seen plenty of shrines and temples on our recent hike, the vibrantly red torii gate and lanterns were still striking to us.
And just outside the temple grounds, we found someone's small vegetable garden.
Eggplants.
Yeah, so these are eggplants in the nightshade family, and these specifically are Asian eggplants because they're much more long and slender compared to the ones you might find in the West. On here we've got some onions growing.
These are onions?
I don't know what these are, but that looks like a coral reef almost.
We continued exploring, filled with a sense of being able to go wherever we wanted with ease.
When you have really good public transportation like this and you pack light enough, it's so empowering.
Yeah.
You feel like you can go anywhere and do anything. Just hop on a train, hop on a bus, whatever.
Yeah.
You walk to wherever you want to go.
It's funny because it's easy to think of having your own car and being able to drive anywhere as being freeing, but having train systems like this actually feels way more freeing because you can just get on, not have anything on you. It's so much easier.
Okay, so it looks like you can't cross the actual road. You gotta take these little underpasses.
We got a nice ramp.
Oh, probably for bicycles.
This watermelon cat park.
Look, it's the three of us. 3 penguins. It's a big bad wolf.
Unlike most of our trips, we didn't have any specific place to be or any major time constraints, and Takayama was full of interesting back roads to explore.
The other day I was asking you what you like the best in traveling, and you said you just like being able to wander. This feels like
Having a general destination and then winding your way there, oh, it's so delightful.
We spotted a Chinese trumpet vine, a flower native to this area. We walked by the orderly gutters along the street, which ran adjacent to planted flower gardens, as well as small fields of rice.
I wonder how much rice you could produce from this one field.
Man, especially when I see people planting rice, and it's just they do like one little thing at a time. I don't know anything about it, but rice is like the most voluminous of the vegetables. So it's got to be a decent amount, right? So there's obviously a lot of loan words in Japanese, and sometimes the transition doesn't make it completely. I think they call apartments mansions here.
Actually, I noticed a lot of mansions in Hong Kong on Google Maps, and I was like, these just look like apartment buildings. It's interesting. This is the second time I've seen a pawpaw tree, and you can actually see a tiny little pawpaw fruit growing up here. This is a fig tree, and there's some plump, juicy ones that look like they're just about ready to be ripe. And we've got another persimmon over here.
Nearby, we also saw a fluffy bunny sitting on the grass. We crested a hill, and at the top, we were treated to a beautiful view of the town and surrounding blue mountains. Furniture maker here.
So all during our time in Japan, we've been seeing this 3-leaf vining plant. It looks like poison ivy, but it's actually kudzu. And this is a plant that is in the pea family. It's native to Japan, but in the US, it's an invasive plant all throughout the south, which makes sense because it's kind of a similar region in terms of the climate. But it's edible.
After wandering for a while, we arrived at the Hida no Sato Historical Folk Village, an area with old Gasho-style thatched roof buildings.
Got this big throne here, and then you've got this tiny one here.
Should make Thomas sit in that one.
I was trying to.
Oh, wow. It shows you the mountains here.
Unfortunately, it seemed like the cloud cover was blocking the view.
In the warm summer breeze, small Japanese chimes called furin rained gently, and a flock of ducks swam through a pond. There were all manner of toys to play with nearby.
Might be too far. I just learned how you're supposed to do the top one. You're supposed to spin it first. It'll keep the hole on the bottom.
Oh.
Not that I can do it,
Great
but
job.
that's essentially the way you're supposed to do it.
Oh! Holy crap. First try. Jeez. Wow.
Okay, and now the forkle. Go on the forkle date.
Wow.
Oh. Wow, I
4
did that
in a
first try
row.
every time?
Hey.
Hey! It's funny that they don't have you fill out any liability papers.
It's funny because when you don't try it and you just see someone doing it, you're like, that looks super easy. And then you get on it and you're like, nope.
After goofing around, we continued exploring.
It seems like most of these buildings were from the mid-18th century to the mid-19th century.
And while this place is a place of historical significance, most of the buildings here have been moved here from various parts of the prefecture and region.
So this is a museum in the sense that it's recreated. Like, this is not an actual village that existed. It's just the buildings were buildings that actually existed.
Nearby were 6 small Buddhist Jizo statues meant to save people from suffering and disasters.
So these piles of wood, they got some mushrooms growing on them, but it's showing what the traditional wood shingles that are used on this building. And apparently at one point, the government banned these sorts of wooden shingles because fires were so common, and they ordered the use of clay tiles. But in this region, those tiles can break easily because of the cold climate.
So this place is called the Nakayabu's house. It's from the 1600s. One of the things they call out specifically is the hearth here in the middle, where families would come and they'd cook.
Displayed around the house were various types of cookware, farming implements for planting and harvesting, and carpentry tools.
Back outside, we passed through a wooden torii gate and visited a modest shrine.
As we continued, we admired one of the old buildings with its impressive thatched roof.
You know, it does make sense it would be that thick. If you build a shelter in the woods, you have to really pile the leaves on to actually make it waterproof. And if you're just using these reeds, I imagine you'd need tons of them to keep it watertight.
Well, right now is the perfect time to test it. And I'm definitely dry under the roof, so.
You can actually go to the second floor on this building. I'm gonna check that out. I mean, it's obviously been restored and stuff, but it is incredibly well constructed. These stairs actually feel super stable. Whoa. That's also really cool. There's logs that are part of the whole structure holding up the roof, but that one has notches cut into it so you can go up another floor higher. And it looks like there's even 2 levels above me. I wonder if they use this just for storing stuff or if this was actual living space.
Inside this building were artifacts like old clothing and giant wooden needles used to sew the thatched roof together.
How long do you think it took the village to make this roof?
Week?
It's 4 days.
Oh, wow.
That's
Some
not-
efficient work.
It was impressive to see just how well constructed the buildings were, especially in an age where everything was made out of natural materials and manual labor.
I wonder, is plants growing into the roof a bug or a feature?
I would bet the moss actually helps because I've seen survival shelters where they use moss on the lower layer of the thatching. But I'm sure at some point you would have to replace these roofs. There's so much life growing on the thick roof that there's even a pine tree growing on the corner of it. That's crazy.
Near all the plant life growing on the roof, I spotted a familiar plant.
All right, so this tree is called Akusa dogwood. It is from Japan. It's got these really soft red berries that grow on it, and these berries are actually edible. You can just eat them straight up. Sometimes people discard the outer skin part just because it can be a little bitter. I've actually seen this growing in neighborhoods in the US as well.
Nearby, we saw a bone show, a large bronze bell used to summon Buddhist monks to prayer. And at the top of a small hill was a shrine with a saisen box for donations.
I threw a coin in the little collection bin here, and I think what happened is a good representation of a little bit of my luck here.
What?
Now, we made our way back to the entrance of the folk village, taking in some of the beautiful bucolic scenery along the way.
Just outside the village was a small gift shop full of fun little souvenirs.
The shoehorns.
Shoehorns.
I'm at the little gift shop here, and I picked up a Saru Babu.
Saru bobo.
Just explain.
So Thomas got a Saru bobo ramune. It's like a type of soda, and they're known for the special bottle and the way to open it.
And I think I've done this once before, but I'm not entirely confident, so I put... Ready?
Yep, ready.
Oh, wow. Oh, damn.
Now that ball's sitting in there.
It smells very sweet. Quite good.
The one thing I don't know is the marble just for fun? Or is it supposed to enhance something, or...
Maybe someone really liked the sound of ice clinking in their glass.
Oh. Oh, I know what it tastes like. It just tastes like those cheap gums you get for Halloween. You know?
Yeah, it's like a bubble gum flavor.
Hubba Bubba.
Hubba
Yeah.
Bubba.
That's one. What do you think it tastes like?
Hubba Bubba.
Yeah.
After that, we caught the bus back to the main part of town.
You guys ready for some hotel archives?
I'm so ready.
On our way back, we saw something interesting.
We just passed a very tiny park that said City of Denver Park.
And looked it up right here, and sure enough, Takayama City's sister city is Denver.
Oh, we gotta find some Denver-related thing to do here.
I think that means we need to drink some craft beer.
Oh, yeah. Sounds good enough to me.
We wanted to explore some more, but first it was time to check into our hotel, which was much nicer than I had expected.
Are you sure we can afford this place?
I mean,
Thomas made this reservation, so you never know.
In the lobby was decor made of furniture pieces, an homage to the history of craft furniture made in the city.
Wood aesthetic is really cool.
Yeah, it's so
The
nice.
room numbers of wood.
It's the wood that makes it good. So come inspect the bedding situation here.
Look at it. That is so perfect.
Who's banished?
I knew there was going to be a big bed and a small bed. I didn't think they'd be right next to each other. Like, it's clearly intended for a child.
On the TV was a sumo wrestling tournament taking place in Ryogoku, the neighborhood we had just stayed at when we first arrived in Tokyo.
So why do we put the tallest dude on the smallest bed? Thomas is like 6'3", and this bed is like barely 6 feet long.
Here. Good night.
That's just how it had to happen.
Andrew's over here naked on He's like, I'm about to go in this hot spring right now.
You're like my dog whenever she sees a pool. She's just like, I gotta jump in. I gotta jump in.
Andrew and his shoehorn. That's Andrew's religion now.
It'll change your life. Try it.
I'm mean, my shoes are already kind of untied, so it's...
Yeah.
I will investigate this further.
Now we left the hotel. It was time to explore some more and to look for some dinner.
Outside, a calm silence had filled the air in the evening. As the sun set, it peered under a layer of clouds and covered everything in its brilliant golden aura.
Adding to the beautiful scenery was a double rainbow that had formed in the distance. We were making our way to an old historic part of town. We saw an interesting temple along the way.
So that is the Hida Kokubunji temple. It's a Buddhist temple. That's also somewhat closer to the old town part of the town.
We saw some other interesting sights, like this building covered in tinsel. Every alleyway we wandered through was so aesthetically appealing, especially compared to the suburban sprawl of the Midwest.
And you couldn't wander through an alleyway without stumbling across something interesting.
It's just tomatoes for
Oh.
100 yen. Shiroke Dama Farm. The mixture of old and new is like one of the most interesting parts about Japan. Like you get this just brand new buildings and then combined with just like these old buildings. Well, old looking anyway.
We now made our way to Takayama's old town. We crossed a bridge and saw a huge torii gate standing in the distance.
Not the biggest.
Now we had reached the old town, streets lined with wooden buildings from the Edo period and traditional footbridges crossing over stone water channels.
We were pretty hungry, so we decided to investigate a cozy-looking restaurant for food.
Okay, unfortunately, that place required reservations, so we're not going to be able to eat there. We found another random place up ahead that we're going to try out. At this point, though, I think anything we find is going to taste amazing.
We're looking for some Hida beef, though. That's specifically what we're looking for.
According to our phone, there was a restaurant that was open just up the street a little ways, but it ended up being closed.
Okay, strikeout number 2. Everything down here closes at like 5 o'clock, so we might have to do a little bit more walking.
We crossed back over the bridge and finally found a suitable looking spot for dinner.
Hida?
I mean, skewers of meat is probably the most pure way to eat beef, right?
Let's do it. There's a blinking light.
Let's go for it.
We had finally found a place that was open, and we were excited to try the local region's beef.
First up were 3 cold crisp beers, which came with a complimentary appetizer of yam noodles.
But I'll drink it for you too. It's beer-tastic.
To go with our noodles and beer, I had ordered a stew with beef tendon, one of my favorite meats, for everyone to try.
Let's give it a go. Wow, that actually is super good. Whenever Andrew orders any type of weird meat part, I'm like, Andrew, this is fantastic. Wow, it does melt in your mouth.
See, your boy knows what he's talking about once in a while. Let's try this. Wow. That is like beef made of butter. That literally melts in your mouth.
Never was anyone allowed to describe melt in your mouth unless you've had this.
And next up were some Hida beef skewers.
Oh my god. It smells delicious. Wow.
That's a genuine smile. Andrew's enjoying the beef so much he's gonna undo all the buttons.
Oishi, oishi.
Oishi.
We're learning where all of these phrases come from. Melt in your mouth, at a loss for words.
We're having the spiritual experience right here.
I had to sit there. I had to just enjoy that. I could not be bothered to speak. Otherwise, it would have been a waste of this beef.
I mean, no offense to this dude, but I was a little worried. I was like, this is a one-man operation. Either he's really bad or really good. And fortunately, he's really good.
Following our skewers was a piece of seared Hida beef steak.
Cheers. Cheers.
Top tier. Top tier.
so rich in flavor. Umami fattiness just permeates through your mouth as you're chewing it. It's so tender, but with enough give to still have substance. It's like the best steak I've ever had.
To speak while I have food in my mouth would be a sin to the cow.
That sauce was nice and subtle. It added like a slight acidity to it, but without overpowering the actual natural flavor of the beef.
Put a little sauce right there. Oh man, who doesn't love a good gyoza? The hunger spice was getting a little dangerous there. It was going to turn into hunger or anger. Hanger.
The fattiness and tenderness of the beef really complements the dumpling form because it's all that juice is stored inside the dumpling and it just like explodes in your mouth. Super good.
Next, we added the leftover broth and fat from our stew to some plain white rice.
Is there anybody who doesn't like residual juices on rice? I don't know if your mom used to make this, but my dad used to make a dish called meat juice and rice. It's literally just like some stewed meat and he'd put it over rice. And I'm sure that's not what the name was, but he called it meat juice and rice. This is not dissimilar.
My mom did used to tell us that they used to eat a bowl of rice with some lard and a little bit of soy sauce drizzled on top. And since then I've had rice with butter and a tiny bit of soy sauce, and that is like a delicious late night gluttony snack.
The beef was so good, we ordered a second serving of skewers to enjoy in slow motion.
So, that was a great dinner, but I just realized something will make it even better. You got an Onsen where you can go back to.
Oh my god.
Dude, I'm gonna get in that bath. I'm never coming out. That's the end of the trip.
We're gonna get in, credits will start rolling.
If you want to eat here, it's Hida Gyoza Miteya. Or Ateya. Sorry, Ateya.
When you take away the beers, it ended up being about like $80 for the three of us. So,
bad.
Do the math. It's a little under $30 for.
Okay, so as we were checking out, Andrew said, tell him that that's the best beef I've ever had. So I said, that's the best beef he's ever had in his life. And then he goes, really? What about Kobe beef and everything? And I go, he's never had Kobe beef. But I was like, it's still probably the best though.
It's funny how just from hearing him say Kobe and seeing his mannerisms, I could tell exactly what he was saying.
It was like the ultimate insult and compliment at the same time. He's never had Kobe beef.
That was A5 steak. I looked on the sign out front. That was A5. Feeling good off the beer and satisfied from the beef, we wandered aimlessly through the town as a little drizzle started falling from the sky.
We still had enough composure to find our way back to the old town after hours.
So this is obviously a preserved area, but I don't know if people still live here or not.
I'm seeing lights in the buildings and I'm seeing some cars parked, so there must be some people who live here.
What I'm finding out about Japan is that I want to be very respectful and kind of always speak quietly when I'm walking through a residential area.
Yeah, on the one hand, it's unfortunate because all the shops here are closed now, but the streets are empty, and this ambience is, incredible.
The empty streets at night felt like the set of a samurai movie or a Japanese period piece. What made it more astounding was that the buildings were authentic and original.
The street we just walked down actually had actual preserved houses, and it had Edo period architecture from the 1600s through the 1860s. Because I'm sure there's been repairs and refurbishments, but these are the actual old buildings that we're seeing. It's not just some fake set or anything.
We continued wandering through the rain, taking in all the subtle details that made this area feel so unique and different to what we were used to.
These gutters are a little bit treacherous.
Yeah, old fire hydrant.
This feels like an old western town in the U.S.
Yeah. The rain kind of adds this atmosphere to it, and when you come by these little shops with awnings, you really get the sense that you're in Edo period Japan, and you're escaping that storm to huddle over some food.
I've never been to Japan, but I've been a big fan of Kurosawa's movies. And this does feel like you're in a Kurosawa movie.
Yeah. You can really see why the samurai and Western genres have so much similarities.
Yeah.
Just feeling this atmosphere.
Eventually, we left the old town and made our way back to the modern parts of the city to get back to our hotel.
But even here, the night ambiance and the falling rain created a unique feeling.
We eventually made it back, but there were still a few more shenanigans to enjoy before the day was done.
Third beer opened, 8 p.m. One of you might want to write that down. 10:15 p.m. 2,000 yen? Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Okay, thanks so much.
So we took a look at the TV. We saw here open air, indoor bath, private open air bath. So we booked it.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so this is the bath. We got a shower up here first, but first, we got to make this an open air bath. Okay, I was the first to shower. That is fantastic. Shampoo, conditioner, body wash.
Oh, that feels good. This is what I've been waiting for since I set foot on the Kamado. Come, join us in the hot tub.
Where am I supposed to go?
Cool air and a hot tub is the only combination.
Sometimes the funnest thing to do here is just close your eyes and pretend you're a monkey. I feel extreme relaxation.
Nah, I got nothing.
Getting outside, getting a little bit cold first, and then going back in.
We got 45 minutes for this bath, and I'm like, I gotta have the contrast to last that long.
Andrew, you look like you've got a hologram over one eye, displaying an eye.
I tapping go mobile again. Taking a cold shower for that contrast. Oh my god. Worth it?
Yes, definitely worth it.
Alright then. Oh, so worth it. So worth it. Oh, that contrast. That's what life is all about, baby. Oh. That's very satisfying. I'm very contented right now. Full after the onsen.
The next day, we awoke to a bustling town, and we quickly packed our things and got ready to head out.
So Andrew's been raving about these shoehorns. I don't see the big deal. See, look, you put them in. Look how scrunched up that is.
It's called a skill issue. On to the next hotel.
We made our way down into the lobby and out of the hotel. Our next hotel would be in a coastal town. But before that, we had a little detour. And for this stretch of the journey, we would be hopping on a bus.
Now, the bus left the city of Takayama, and we made our way through rural Japan once again. We've taken a train pretty much every other time, right?
Yeah, I guess like first long distance bus.
I infinitely prefer trains. I have very bad memories of a bus in Germany.
We were driving through hilly terrain, and the highway would occasionally enter tunnels that passed through entire mountains.
These hills we're driving through really remind me of the remote hills in West Virginia when we're trying to get to a
wilderness destination, so it's really impressive that they have an actual bus that transports you from one town to the next.
What's also impressive is that these roads are just carved through mountains. Like you go through one tunnel, there's a small break, and then there's another tunnel.
Much rather go through a tunnel than hike up the mountain, at least right now.
Eventually, we reached the town of Shirakawa-go, a place famous for its traditional historic village and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So inside, as soon as you get off the bus, there's a little tourist information center that'll give you a map to help you kind of understand what's around here.
From the bus stop, we decided we would try to wander to the opposite end of the village and see as much as we could, while stopping somewhere for lunch along the way.
This is kind of like the village that we went to yesterday.
Yeah, and look how beautiful the scene is right now. You've got this rice field with dragonflies darting around in the sunlight, these old buildings in the background.
It's pretty magical.
Yeah, it's magical.
The sight of the rice glowing in the afternoon sun and the countless dragonflies darting all about gave this village a euphoric, fairy tale-esque quality.
It's also crazy because you can just smell the scent of rice as you walk by this field. Smell it? Like, it literally smells like fresh rice to me.
Can't really smell anything.
I can smell it.
In the hills nearby was an overlook deck we hoped to visit later. For now, we wandered past more gasho-style buildings.
Yeah, what's cool about this is you've got the old-style thatch roof buildings, but they're actually being used for different shops and restaurants. So it's not just a museum piece, you actually get to go in and interact with it.
Yeah, I was going to say that this is the best proof that these roofs work because they're actually using them.
Yeah.
Apparently they're really good for the snow, too. This place gets heavy snow.
Nearby was a pond that had some fish swimming through it.
Any lily pad fun facts?
Well, I know that lotuses are in that family of water lilies, and people will eat the roots and the seeds. And it's also obviously a huge symbol in Buddhism and other Eastern philosophies.
As it turns out, the lotus was once considered part of the water lily family, Nymphaceae, but is now categorized in a different family, Nelumbonaceae.
We continued walking and came across a stand selling various snacks on the side of the street.
Got some dried persimmon. Looks like some beef-flavored cashews, too. That sounds incredible.
You definitely get lots of snow here.
In winter time, I feel like it'd be cold and a struggle to get out here, but the isolation and the beauty of it would be worth it.
We passed by 3 large stone shrines and saw a large cedar needle ball called a sugidama, representing hope and peace.
I bet that'd be a good ball of tinder.
And we came by another fragrant rice patch.
To me, it smells like you've just opened a zongzi or like a glutinous mochi.
To me, it smells a lot like wheat.
Oh, okay. When you said that,
You
the
could-
zones
you-
are, yep.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can smell that.
This is a Disney village. Like, I've never seen a village this
Yeah.
Disney-ish in my
Yeah,
life
yeah.
before.
That's what's so cool is like I keep expecting these places to be more artificial, but there's actual buildings that have been here for years and are still being used.
Of the many gasho-style thatched roof houses here, the oldest was the water residence, which has been around for over 300 years.
There were many different shops and sights to see in this village, but even then, it was an interesting tree that caught my attention.
Now this is something different. This is pomegranate. Wow, there's some turning red and nice and plump. We've got some old dried up ones down here.
Wow, I've never seen pomegranate. Before.
We continued on, passing by rustic buildings with small shops and vintage cars inside. The further we wandered into the village, the more it felt like we were being transported back in time.
But despite the serene environment, I could tell the others were getting irritable and hungry. So we searched for a place where we could grab some lunch.
All right, so in order to stave off Robby and Thomas's growing anger, we've come here for some soba. Apparently, one of the meals known for this town is eating soba in the mountains. So
There were a variety of soba meal options. While we waited for our orders to show up, we enjoyed some water. Eventually, the food arrived, and it looked great. I ordered some cold soba noodles. I know it might seem unsatisfying to have like a meal that isn't hot, but I'll tell you the deliciousness and
You haven't tried
temperatures.
it yet. How do you know it's delicious?
How are the cold noodles?
They are very good. I'm very glad I got the cold ones. Just very satisfying, very flavorful, very delicious.
Are you a fan of buckwheat?
I am.
Do you like a buckwheat noodle? I'm generally not a fan of buckwheat, but I'll give it a go on occasion. Oh, it's good.
How's that fish?
Oh, slightly sweet.
Oh, right. You got the tempura.
Tempura shrimp soba, classic.
That's a good fish.
Oh yeah, tastes like it's been like preserved initially or something. Sweet, and the bones are soft.
After lunch, we resumed wandering around outside.
Looks like something where you would put a little leaf or paper boat in there and just watch it.
Hey, try that. Put that leaf in there.
There he goes.
Nearby was a footbridge that spanned across a wide river. As we crossed it, a cool breeze rolled through.
This feels so good right now. Oh, you can actually feel the bridge moving too.
That feels less good.
Yeah, this weather feels fantastic, but this bridge, it looks extremely solid, but it moves a little bit, and it's a little disorienting.
In the river below were some strange concrete structures.
So I believe they have concrete in there just to help control erosion because it's kind of on the outer bend of the river. The outer bend is usually where the hardest erosion is. So because this is all built up, there's not any like natural vegetation to prevent that. I think that's what those are for.
Many of Japan's rivers, even in remote areas, are built up with stone and concrete as a means to control erosion, albeit with varying results.
These blue flowers are a type of spiderwort. There's a lot of different kinds, but these ones are pretty strikingly blue. And these ones only have 2 big petals, and there's some species of this that you can actually eat. So all during our time in rural Japan, we've been seeing just swarms of dragonflies. It's a really beautiful sight. And it turns out the larvae grow in water. So rivers and rice paddies are the perfect habitat for them to grow up. And so that's why when you see rice paddies, you just see so many of them darting around. I imagine they must help like get rid of pests too.
I know in Michael's little farm that he has, he puts up little fake dragonflies because the bugs are scared.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
We scuttled down to a rock bank in the river, and I spotted some sort of primrose flower.
From this vantage point, we could see beautiful cliffs rising from the river's blue waters.
Look at this. Well, first of all, these cliffs just look like a Chinese or Japanese painting, but look up there, there's a little opening up there.
Whoa.
Look how completely clear that water is. Also, there is not a spot of trash in this entire river.
Oh, you found some trash.
Found one. Coca-Cola.
We'll take it out.
Nearby was a parking lot for buses, as well as a visitor center. Andrew decided to use the bathroom, and even those had a whimsical nature to them.
Those urinals in that bathroom, it said, step forward and enjoy the shooting game. If it turns green, it's a success. And there's a little ninja sticker in the urinal, and when you pee on it, it turns green.
Really?
Yeah.
We were all in a relaxed mood as we goofed around. Craving the beef from last night, Thomas decided to buy some skewers from a vendor nearby.
I can't get enough of these things. Would you like a?
I'll take a little piece, sure.
Take a little piece.
I'm interested to see how it compares to last night's.
Yeah. Pretty darn good. I mean, I'm full, but that's still very tender.
A little chewier than last night. And after the skewers, Andrew decided to buy an extravagant dessert.
Whoa! What did you get?
This is a melon shaved ice. Yeah, Japanese shaved ice is a whole different ballgame. Got some condensed milk on here, too. Oh, yeah. You guys want some? Yeah, it's so overflowing. It's hard to prevent spillage.
That is
Isn't that better
unlike any other shaved ice I've ever had.
And that condensed milk actually gives it like some substance, you know?
Brain freeze or something?
That's good. Man, this is a lot, but this is really good.
There's so much flavor imbued in there too. It's not like, you know, in America when you get a snow cone and then just part of it is just snow. There's no syrup.
After our delectable dessert, we headed back into the main part of the village. There was still one more treat we had to try. A traditional beverage made from locally grown rice right here in Shirakawa-go.
We found the building where they were selling this drink and headed over.
So this is Amazake, which is a special type of sake that is a bit sweeter and much less filtered. So you can see how like thick and almost pulpy it is. Oh, that is incredibly good. Almost got like a hint of like some sort of woodiness, but besides that, it's this thick, creamy consistency, kind of like kefir or something. But it's got the slight bits of rice in it that add some good texture, and it's almost got the aroma of like a banana peel as you drink it. But it also reminds me of something called jionyang, which is a similar fermented rice thing. It's a bit more like a porridge, but it's sweet. And my mom used to make that, and it's slightly alcoholic, but it's supposed to be really good when you're sick.
It smells like a banana and a ham sandwich.
I could see that.
I don't know where the ham sandwich is coming from, but it does
It's like
smell
a sandwich in a bag, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, I get what you mean somehow.
Oh, but it tastes quite good. Wow. Yeah, it has hints of like a banana drink or something.
And it's the hot here?
It's the hot, just a sip. Ooh, I like that.
Oh, that's very good hot too. If I could order these drinks regularly at a bar, I mean, I know it's not alcoholic, but I would drink stuff like this all the time.
It's like a sweetened oat milk. It's got pulp in it. When it's warm, it's not as like almost gelatinous. It's less pulpy. It goes down smoother. It's not piping hot either. It's just legitimately just warm.
Yeah. I can't decide which one I like better.
After enjoying the Amazake, we continued wandering around. We came across a rock wall that had water cascading over it, set in front of a beautiful farmhouse.
Growing near the water's edge were some beautiful loosestrife flowers.
And there was also a farmhouse that we could go inside.
That is a lot of firewood.
Inside the house was a traditional Japanese hearth called an irori, used for warmth, cooking food, and heating the kettle.
You know, generally I look at these old houses and I think that it'd be really hot and muggy and like depressing in here, but with all these doors open at once, it's actually quite nice.
Just outside was a little koi pond and a water channel that fed a rice pounding mill.
That seems slightly inefficient. I feel like I've seen people beat rice and stuff before, and it takes a lot more pounds than that.
It's like 1 pound per 15 seconds, but it is automated.
This is true.
So.
This is true.
We made our way across some stepping stones to another part of the village, where we saw another farmhouse with a wall of firewood.
Wow. You ever prepared that hard for a fire?
Man, no. That's like a year's worth of fire.
Man, I thought the main village was a Disney princess village. This is a Disney princess village right here. Like, look at this. Thomas, go dance out there.
The Homer Simpson frolic.
Nearby were some flowers and a particular looking plant.
This is hog peanut. I've seen Andrew identify hog peanut enough times to know that this looks like hog peanut.
I don't actually know what it is, but it's definitely not hog peanut, nor is it in the pea family.
Does it look like it though? Looks like
No.
it. Yeah, it does.
It's green and it has leaves. According to the app I use, this is buckwheat. So they're actually growing buckwheat for the soba. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Wow. I didn't realize buckwheat was not actually a type of grain. There's like different types of plants called docks where they have big broad leaves, but they tend to have these little seeds that are almost like grains. So I wonder if buckwheat is kind of a similar thing.
As it turns out, buckwheat is in the same family as a similar edible plant we've often seen called curly dock.
While we meandered about, we came across a house whose roof was in the process of being constructed.
Well, I'm guessing this is not the same as the old technique, but it might not be too dissimilar.
Or they're working from bottom to top, because if you work from top to bottom, then that lets the rain kind of soak through. Whereas bottom to top, you've got shingles overlapping like this, so the rain will shed properly. I wonder if in the past they used bamboo for scaffolding, because when I was in Hong Kong, they were still using bamboo for scaffolding, even on these like huge skyscrapers. So it's not so out of the question.
Yeah.
The roofs were once made of a type of grass called kariyasu, but now Suzuki, or Chinese silvergrass, is used because it grows faster and can be imported into the village.
Check this out. We've got some chestnuts. It is really hard to open with your bare hands, but you can see the actual chestnut right here.
So
Yeah.
could you just roast that right now?
Yeah, you could roast this over the fire, eat it. These ones might be a little underripe, but
But do you guys feel Jack Frost nipping at your toes? And in the grass nearby, we saw a snake. So that didn't look venomous to me because usually you got this triangular head where the venom sacs are, but that looked pretty docile and pretty tame compared to what we saw on the Kumano-koto with that pit viper.
Okay, we got about an hour to head back to the bus to head up to Kanazawa. There's one more thing we want to check out, which is the lookout point near the bus station. Actually, I want to look at this building real quick first.
It's like a temporary housing. It is way cooler in here.
yeah. That roof must just provide tons of insulation too.
Yeah, yeah.
You got these brooms with really long handles. I wonder if that's to clean the roof as well. Like, it's interesting thinking about the different plant materials that are used. You've got actual rope made of different fibers, but then you've got these kind of softer woody shrubs used to bind the bigger logs together. You can see how understanding plants and how you can use them has just been present throughout civilization for centuries and centuries, up until the Industrial Revolution, when we had a whole host of different materials to work with.
After that, we crossed back over the wide bridge to the main part of the village.
We made our way to the Overlook, but there were plenty of quaint sights to see along the way.
Okay, we've got about 39 minutes before the bus leaves. It's about a 12-minute walk up to the observation deck, so we're gonna hurry up there, hurry back down. We should have just enough time for the bus. It's pretty easy to be jaded about like cool tourist spots, but it's hard to be jaded about this place. This is pretty amazing.
We now hustled up to a steep, paved road.
Some things like this aren't worth it. I think this will be. I think this will be quite worth it.
Pretty worth it.
Pretty worth it.
"24 minutes to get back to the bus. Plenty of time. Then it's to the west coast of Japan and Kanazawa."
It was a fairly quick walk back to the bus station, and we even had some extra time to rest and take in some of the wildlife.
After a brief moment, it was time to board the bus and leave Shirakawa-go.
As we headed out, we were treated to beautiful views of rural rice farming villages surrounded by rolling blue hills.
It was a fairly long bus ride to our next stop, a city called Kanazawa, so we took the opportunity to catch some shut-eye. As the bus drove, the skies became more overcast, and eventually, rain started falling in the distance.
And along with the impressive storm clouds, we noticed just how sparsely populated this area seemed.
Wow, this landscape, more than some of the others, feels like really rural. Like, some of the rural areas are still kind of like a small town, but this actually reminds me of farmland back in the US almost.
Yeah, it's all rice, isn't it?
Yeah, looks like it.
Tons of rice fields out there.
Yeah.
Before long, the bus had met with the storm clouds and rain started pouring over us.
But with perfect timing, the skies started clearing just as we approached the city of Kanazawa.
The rural environment had faded away, and a decidedly urban environment surrounded us as the bus pulled into the station.
I
don't know where we are, how we got here, but we're here.
First stop is a fish market to get some sushi.
Wow, it feels really weird to be in a modern town after being in that little village. Wow, this is weird.
There was no doubting it. Kanazawa was as contemporary and bustling a city as any. An impressive wooden gate, modeled after Japanese tsuzumi drums, greeted us as we exited the station.
And just outside was a digitized water feature displaying the time and other information.
What a delightful city.
Yeah, this is really cool.
Yo, I'm definitely feeling some whiplash. Going from that village to this city is like completely different.
Though the city was very modern, you could still find a temple here and there to remind one of Japan's more rustic, traditional past.
We were searching for a well-known fish market in town, and there was an electronic map that was quite helpful for finding our way.
Got a little light here. If you touch down there,
Should light up the map.
There it is. There it is. So we go to the end of the street.
Oh, it even has arrows light up for you.
cool. Almost there.
Yeah. A robot from Futurama over there.
To get to the market, we had to cross the street via another underpass.
Oh, this is cool.
This is the nicest underpass I've ever been in. Probably been in like 5, probably.
Once we exited the underpass, we arrived at the Omicho market.
Inside were all sorts of vendors and sights and smells to delight the senses.
Let's just forage and browse around here a bit.
One stand was selling roasted fish, which we picked up to try later.
Some stalls sold prepackaged snacks, while others sold freshly caught seafood.
Now we have an oyster.
Oyster?
We decided to buy a large raw oyster, and I enjoyed it with a splash of ponzu sauce.
Oh wow, that was like creamy on the inside almost. It tasted fresher than the one we had in Tokyo for sure, but it was also different in the sense that other ones were like more refreshing. This one almost had like a creamy roe texture to it. I don't know if it's like the variety of species or what, but it was good.
Nearby was another stand selling uni, or raw sea urchin.
Maybe a little bit of this.
Man, if you love seafood, this is like heaven
Yeah.
right now.
I've had sea urchin once, and I actually didn't like it that much. Oh wow, that is so much better than the first time I had it. It's got like a very mild umami flavor. The texture is nice and soft and creamy. The first time I had it, it just tasted like snot, but this is so much better. It's almost like a soft egg yolk, kind of.
Soft egg yolk is the right way to describe it. If you're gonna give me this in a blind taste test, I think it's like a sweet egg or something.
Yeah, it's got a bit of sweetness, that's right.
Yeah.
Wow, I did not think I would actually like that. It's delectable.
Turns out, fresh sea urchin from Japan is far better than sea urchin from a cheap sushi spot in central Ohio. Up next, Robby had purchased some grilled eel.
I love the smell of the sauce they used. Slightly crispy on the outside. The softer texture of eel, but still, you can tell it's got that nice meaty taste. That was really good.
Like, a lot of stuff here I could understand if someone didn't have a taste for it. But eel, I think, is one of those things anyone could universally love, at least prepared that way. Maybe not prepared like the slimed eels in the UK or whatever.
We continued wandering through the market, passing by a vendor that sold a variety of fish cakes.
I think that's Naruto and that's, I forget what that's called, but both types of fish cake. These are huge cloves.
We also saw stands selling real fresh wasabi, as well as a strange bread-like ingredient.
So that store back there was selling these donut-shaped pieces of gluten, and that's a specialty here specifically that they use in oden, which is like, it's like a stew. You eat the stewed bits, but that is a specialty of this city.
At another stand, snails, scallops, and other shellfish, including fresh lobster, were being sold.
And fresh-caught squid and fish were up for sale nearby.
And another sold squash, sweet potatoes, and other fresh produce. As we wandered, a song played on the PA system overhead.
This music's playing, and I'm really curious if this is the music they play at the end of the day because they're about to close in 15 minutes, or if this is just the music that drives people to madness that plays all day long.
After sampling some snacks, we left to look for a real dinner.
Yeah, markets like that, especially open-air markets with like fresh food that you can just buy on the spot and eat. Those are my favorite types of street markets. That's one thing I really wish Columbus had. I mean, it's a small city, so it's not surprising it doesn't, but this stuff is awesome. I love
It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
As a coastal town, Kanazawa had access to some of the freshest seafood, so we were on a mission to find some sushi.
Man, where are we going?
Google Maps had led us to a building, but as it turns out, there was a sign specifically saying no sushi. But just next door, we found what we were looking for.
Are they open? Where is the
I don't know.
opening?
Google said it was open until 11. It's like a small sushi store.
We were in luck. Inside was a cheerful sushi chef who gave us some hot towelettes and iced matcha tea.
That cold tea is very refreshing.
The chef started preparing food for us without taking orders. Up first was a small cucumber seafood salad appetizer.
While we ate, we chatted as best as we could with the chef and his assistant. As it turns out, he had been working as a qualified sushi chef for over 46 years.
Before our next course, the chef provided us with some sake.
飲みますか?
飲まないです。仕事。
They said no, they gotta work.
飲んでください。
Oh man, that's really smooth.
It's very smooth.
I feel like when it's good, it doesn't burn.
No.
美味しい。よかった。
飲む時に
Oh yeah,
美味
that's
しいよ。
smooth. Yeah, that is sake you can really sip and
うま
enjoy.
い。そうで
う
す
まい。
Next, the chef prepared a variety of beautiful sushi for us to enjoy, including fugu, or pufferfish.
Pufferfish contains tetrodotoxin. When prepared incorrectly, the toxins can prove fatal to humans. But the chef's many decades of experience put us at ease.
フグちょっと硬い。フグはちょっと硬い。
Okay, she said it's kind of hard. Alright. It is a little hard. It tastes pretty good though.
Any numb? It's very like chewy but subtle flavor, but that wasabi accompanies it really well. But it's nothing like scary tasting or anything like that. It's
The food kept coming. A rural Japanese vegetable and tofu dish and miso soup.
Next, we tried a sushi roll with ground mountain vegetables.
the mountain vegetable one has kind of a slimy texture like okra, but it's very sweet. I like that one a lot.
I like that a lot too.
Yeah.
As we ate, the assistant asked us about sushi in America.
ただ、アメリカでは本物のわさび使わない。なんか、ホースラディッシュ。
粉のわさび。
多分粉。
粉のわさびね。本物のわさび。わさび。
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
よいしょ。
Okay, so apparently he went and got this wasabi himself in May.
From the mountains.
From the mountains.
Okay, I need to try this wasabi just straight up. Oh wow. The wasabi has like almost a starchiness you might find in a sweet potato, like that sort of texture, and it's a much fuller, richer taste than the fake stuff back home. That is like so good. Just on its own, it's delicious.
While we ate, the assistant presented us with a gift.
ジャパニーズカブト。
Oh, kabuto.
侍。
ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。
ニュースペーパー。ニュースペーパー。
縦に
Oh, you turn it
ナポレオン。
like that.
手裏剣。
Oh, shuriken.
折り紙手裏剣。
And now, it was our turn to learn how to make some origami.
一枚ね。
Yeah, just one. Other way.
Tuck it inside.
No.
Oh.
No. そう。Okay. Okay, very good. Samurai shuriken.
So the shuriken was made out of 2 pieces of paper. That's what you can do if you got 30. Oh, if you want, you can take those home.
どうぞよかったらもうどうぞ。
ありがとうございます。
Gozaimasu.
After a delightful evening, it was finally time for us to head out.
ありがとうございます。
ごちそうさまでした。ありがとう。
Thank you. ありがとうございます。
じゃあね。
That was the best meal I think I've had
Yeah.
in a long time.
That was the best sushi and also best restaurant experience
Yeah.
you probably ever had. Memories forever.
First up, we got to go to the station and see if they have a lost and found, because unfortunately Thomas left his Wi-Fi router on the bus.
This is my mistake, but now it's everyone else's problem.
As the others dealt with the Wi-Fi at the station, I grabbed something special to try.
Got a little fermented snack to try later.
For you to try or for us all to try?
For us all and mostly me though. To the hotel?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
A calm dusk air filled the city as we strolled to our nearby hotel.
The city was relatively quiet now, putting us in the mood for a bit of rest in our room before any further adventures.
Wow, this is a big room.
Yeah. Love it. We've got some you've got some normal stuff to eat. I've got some weird stuff to eat.
See, Andrew gets excited about like Japanese like fish markets, stuff like that. I get excited about their bakeries.
Got this roast fish from the fish market.
And I got this nice chocolate bun. Oh.
Dink. You don't have, okay, you want to touch it? This fish is like gasping. This fish tastes good, but it's definitely got the bitterness of the guts because I think it's still in there. And I remember going to a Japanese market at home and they had similar fish and they said you didn't have to gut it, you could just roast it like that. So that must be a thing where they eat it like that.
This muffin is like a chocolate chip muffin, but more bread texture.
This region is known for something called kabura sushi, which is a type of fermented sushi. And I think that's actually like kind of the origins of actual sushi. This is not that. Every time I asked about it in the store at the station, they were like, no. But they did have daikon sushi, which is pickled daikon radish on top of pickled dried herring. So you can see it's got this daikon and some shredded carrots on the outside. And you can see the skin of the herring. Oh, wow. So this whole white part is literally a half piece of a daikon, and then there's some fish attached to it. And the daikon itself is kind of similar to those yellow pickled daikons, you know? But it's got like kind of a sweetness to it. And then the fish complements the daikon really good, actually. I almost wish there was more fish and that the daikon was cut thinner. I like it, but the thought of eating this whole thing in one go is a bit much. I feel like having little bits of it accompanying an actual full meal would be really good.
Now, since we were on the western coast of Japan, it was time for one more excursion to a nearby beach before the night ended.
Good stuff.
Okay, see you in a bit, Thomas. Good luck. Okay, so Thomas is going to take care of his lost property. We got to get to the station in 11 minutes because they only leave on the half hour, and we want to get to the coast and check out this ocean.
We barely made that train. We had like 30 seconds.
This is a super local train. It's only local people. There's only 2 cars, and there's no conductor. And only the front door opens. This is like, I've never been on a train like that before.
It was a fairly short ride to the last stop. We got off the train, but we still had quite a bit of distance to cover by foot before making it to the coast.
And it's kind of fun to just wander aimlessly in the night. Like, we know we're going to the coast, but beyond that, we have no idea what we'll encounter.
The weirdest part about this is that the ocean is that way. Like, we can't see it, we can't feel it, but it's there.
There's like 0 breeze right now. Hopefully once we get there, there'll be a nice breeze. Also, we are just out here in a random suburb of a small city, an already small city. I've had so many experiences since coming to Japan where it's just like out of a dream.
Okay, we just saw a sign for the beach. We gotta take this quick underpass. Now it feels like we're going into some sort of bunker.
Yeah. This is a purely utilitarian underpass. There's no bells and whistles for this one.
Now, one possible issue is the beach could be closed.
Oh,
I asked the sushi guy at sushi dinner tonight, and they said it's always open.
okay. I feel like at the very least we'll be able to get a view.
Yeah.
So.
You know, it's partially because it's dark, but this neighborhood looks like any random suburb in the US right now.
Yeah. It's kind of what adds to that weird dream-like feeling. It's like your brain is drawing from what you know. Like, it's not different enough to just be like, whoa, okay. Yeah, it's like the uncanny valley of like suburbs.
Just ahead on our walk, we came across something even more eerily familiar and seemingly out of place for Japan.
Okay, wait a minute. We just went through a wormhole.
Yeah, we are back in Indiana.
Yeah, that train was a wormhole back to Indiana.
This is a strip mall. It's even open 24 hours a day.
funny how familiar this is. That is crazy.
It says right there, 24 hours a day.
Even that looks like some condominium in Ohio or something. Brian's back in there.
Are we still on track to get to the ocean?
Right. So that tunnel goes under a major road, and right past that is where the beach is, apparently.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
We approached the tunnel leading to the coast and saw another sign of the beach.
Oh, we got some sand. We got some sand. Whoa, mama. There is nobody here.
The familiar of the landscape, that like suburban American landscape. I just feel like someone's gonna call the cops on us for like walking around.
We should also say that whatever the camera makes it look like, it is 100 times darker. It is just for your sake so you can actually see what we're doing.
Wow. This is like a portal. Like you can just suddenly see the clouds and just a vast void through this tunnel.
As we approached the beach, we saw some sort of warning sign.
Okay, this might be the end of the line for us.
It's warning that your car might get stuck in the sand or something.
Oh, yeah. It looks like those people over there are like doing some grilling out or something.
Yeah, looks fun.
Yeah, it does look fun. Can you see anything?
No, it's just like so dark out there. Besides just a few lights.
Oh, we can start to hear it now. I can see some waves too, yeah. I just realized this is a weird beach. This has to be like 500 meters or something. It doesn't really look like it's a beach that people swim at because there's car tracks all over the place.
Yeah. Look at this. This is like a coastal desert more than a beach. Like just a desert that happens to be right by the ocean.
We made it.
Wow.
Looks like in the distance there's maybe oil rigs or something? I don't know. You can see some signs of ships. But over on the side here, I don't know what that is.
It's like a spotlight out there too.
So we're on the western edge of Japan. When you stand out here, it really doesn't mean anything unless you know that. Like if you just came out here and you were standing here and nobody told you where you were, it's like an amazing sight.
Yeah.
But the significance only comes when you know how crazy it is that you're actually here. You fly all the way across the world, you go all the way across the country, you walk all the way to the edge, and then you see this giant ocean that's been there the whole time.
So earlier when we were on the Kumanokoto, we were close to the Pacific Ocean side of the country.
Right.
Now we're on the Sea of Japan side.
Right, yeah.
So we've been to, I guess if you count those as two sides,
Oh, yeah.
we've been to both of those sides of the country.
When you go to the ocean at night, it really feels like day will never come.
Yeah.
It just feels like this is it. This is your life now.
It's like the vastness and the unknown depths of the ocean adds to that, the depths of the darkness.
Yeah.
But on a hot summer, sunny day,
It'd probably be
great.
pretty inviting.
Yeah.
It's not inviting right now.
No.
Every instinct tells you to go away from here. Wow, very, very cool.
As we stared at the vastness of the ocean and the deep night sky, we couldn't help but reflect a bit on life.
So have you ever had any good thoughts staring into the void?
Like, has there ever been like any positive thoughts like, yeah? Or has it always been kind of vaguely melancholy?
When the stars are out, maybe a bit more hopeful.
Yeah.
It's like easy to dwell on that when you don't remember that in just like 12 hours there will be sunshine,
Yeah.
birds chirping. That contrast of day and night also kind of fits with the contrast of this empty beach and then the bustling town we just came from.
Yeah.
And I think what we're doing now is a perfect encapsulation of the human desire to ebb and flow between like comfort and security and then freedom and adventure. Sometimes you just want to come out to God knows where, just stare into the void a bit.
Yeah, adventure and travel for me is that you push your boundary and then you come back to home base.
Yeah.
And then you push your boundary again, you try to go a little bit farther that time and you come back to home base.
It goes back to the thing where like every time you're going to a trip and you see people coming home, you don't envy them and vice versa.
Yeah.
Because that's just where you are in that journey.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna feel so good to go home.
Oh man, yeah.
But man, it felt great to have all of this adventure.
Yeah, God. Just that rubber band of life.
Yeah.
Wow, this is great.
Yeah.
Okay, you know where else we can see these stars, though? Our hotel. I usually don't know if we can.
Yeah, you might just shoot, but you know what we could do in our hotel room? Drink some cold carbonated beverages. The ebb and flow, baby.
Ebb and flow.
And with that, we started our journey back to the comfort of our hotel.
It's 8:22. There are trains every half hour, so we should be able to catch the 9 o'clock one. One thing we didn't mention is that the breeze was indeed quite cool out there.
Yeah, it's very
nice.
Very comfortable right now. It was so comfortable we forgot to mention it because we didn't even notice any discomfort.
I wonder if the water's warm, though. I don't want to test it, so
yeah, that'll be let someone else test that one.
that'll be a mystery forever left unsolved.
Yeah.
Are your feet just completely filled with sand right now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Dude, this is so weird. This road literally just turns into sand. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
That is a very unique echo. What? It's like the opposite of those Microsoft anechoic chamber or whatever. All right. Goodbye, Sea of Japan. See you later.
Hello, Indiana. Max value, Indiana.
Wait for me. Don't leave me on the coast of Japan.
Well, we're in Indiana now. You're back home.
Okay. I need that shoehorn.
What if you just started carrying a shoehorn in your backpack with you at all times?
You just had like a pocket shoehorn that extended. Those.
I've talked about it before, but the idea of experiencing the mundane but in a completely different place is really fascinating to me.
This is the mundanity of Japan, experienced through the lens of somebody who doesn't think it's mundane.
Yeah.
It had been a warm summer night, but luckily we found some refreshments to put some pep in our step.
Cheers. This is a good choice. You want to try it? Oh, both good choices.
The stove light just turned on. That was just right next to somebody's house. And the garage door light turned on. So I got scared and I ran away. I think it was an automatic light, though.
We continued retracing our steps back to the station as we headed into the underpass.
This is the most light we've seen in a long time.
Finally, we made it back to the train station. It was a beautiful sight. We had some time to kill before the train arrived, so I took the opportunity to empty the sand out of my shoes.
Now, we boarded the train, which was almost completely empty. And as the train started leaving, both Robby and I had a sudden moment of panic.
For a second, we thought we got on the wrong train. I don't know why we both thought it was going the wrong way. But then I remembered we actually walked from that way. So
Also, that's the last stop.
yeah,
so
that's
we can only go one way.
Why did we? That's really weird. We both thought
I was like, dude, we are going into the darkness.
it's just the tracks go straight into the ocean.
Oh man, just did you? We both had that sinking feeling. We're like,
Just looked at each other.
Thankfully, the train had not gone into the void, but had taken us back towards our hotel.
As we exited the station, we saw a lone breakdancer vigorously dancing, practicing his moves.
From the main station, we now returned back to our hotel.
And Thomas was waiting for us back at the room. Now, it was time for some post-meandering snackage.
I have banana tarts. Oh, those banana tarts
are really good, actually. Kind of tastes like a slice of banana with pie crust around the edge. Truffle chip. Was this just normal? Oh, they're good.
At the end of the day, we all showered and got ready for bed.
Andrew's towel on his head. You look like you're straight out of the 80s.
Feel good though.
Good night.
Okay, final day of the trip. We are headed to Kusatsu Onsen, which is just east of Nagano, where they held the Olympics in 1998. Johnny something or the other won the moguls. Watched that late at night in 7th grade. First stop, the bullet train.
Cutting it pretty close today. We got 14 minutes until the train leaves. Provided we don't have any problem finding the train, it'll be no problem. 9 minutes to spare.
Yeah, all right, that's good. I'm gonna get on that train and fall right back asleep.
Thomas is here.
Oh, adjustable headrests. This is the nicest one we've been on yet.
The train pulled out of the station, and soon we were zipping through the countryside once again.
It was a beautiful day with sunny blue skies, which made us even more anxious to get off the train and explore.
Before heading to Kusatsu Onsen, we would be making a stop at Karuizawa, a quaint little mountain resort town.
From Karuizawa, we would have to get on a bus to Kusatsu Onsen, so we wanted to make sure we had our bearings before exploring around.
Okay, we're gonna find our bus stop first and then go find a place to eat after that. It's actually like a 2-hour bus ride up to where we're going, so that's us right there.
Okay, so our bus stop is number 2 up there. I say let's just go eat.
This weather, that train was a portal through the seasons. This is the perfect weather we've been missing all month. Thanks to its elevation of 1,000 meters, Karuizawa has mild summer weather, with an average of 70 degrees Fahrenheit.
While looking around for food, we came across a bike rental shop.
You want to rent a bike?
For like 15 years, Andrew and I have been saying we should get a tandem bike together.
If you guys rent a tandem bike, I will absolutely film you.
But first, lunch.
We had found our way to a small cafe that served Japanese interpretation of Mexican food, and the restaurant had a decor evocative of Central America in the American Southwest.
Do you feel like you're back in Colorado?
Thomas is at a cafe in Colorado right now, and he doesn't want to be bothered. So don't talk to him.
We started our lunches off with some iced coffee and ginger ale.
What's your opinion on bindi straws? Like, do you need a bindi straw?
I don't think so.
I mean, like a straight straw is just fine for me. If it does bend, I'm gonna bend it.
I like these mugs too. Very Adobe feeling. Ooh, that's good.
It is more
Wow,
ginger.
yeah, that's way more gingery. Good for healthy. And for food, we had some pressed grilled sandwiches. I haven't had a pressed sandwich like this in a long time. It was like chili and a sandwich. Really good.
I'm really excited to try this yogurt with a little bit of jam in there. Oh man. Man, I was so hungry. Oh, this is good.
Take that as it's good.
After lunch, it was time to rent some bicycles to explore the town.
Okay, it's time. Getting on these bicycles. Oh, baby.
It's gonna be great.
Unfortunately, Andrew and I were above the weight limit for a tandem bike, so we had to just get regular ones.
You guys look pretty uncomfortable on these bikes. When was the last time you rode a bike?
Oh, it's been a minute. It's been like years, actually.
How about you?
A couple weeks ago on a motorcycle.
No, a regular bike. When was the last time you rode a regular bike?
It's the same as riding a bike.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
Is it?
Yeah, you got to balance it and everything.
Okay, go.
This is so awesome.
Like, you've got a nice wide seat. It's got a basket in the front to carry your groceries. I've always wanted a basket on my bike. Look at these autumn colors coming in too. That autumn air.
From the town's main street, we turned onto a quieter back road that ran through a wooded area.
So the sign on this little road said something about bicycles. It was in kanji, so I assume it meant this is the bike road, but I'm not 100%. Oh, there's somebody else on a bike. Okay, we're good. Although it looks like they're turning around.
This also just looks like the U.S.
Yeah, it feels like we're in New England right now.
Yeah.
We passed by some modernist-looking buildings and followed the street to a small local park.
Yep.
In the words of Jean-Luc Picard, that was absolutely thrilling.
The main feature of this park was Kumoba Ike Pond, sometimes nicknamed Swan Lake.
We noticed some fish jumping in the water as we enjoyed today's serene summer weather.
I think this is the most relaxed I've been on this trip so far.
Yeah.
Perfect weather.
Oh, beautiful.
As we strolled around the park, I noticed a familiar-looking plant.
So this is a yew tree, and these red berries typically come out in the early fall, but this whole plant is deadly poisonous except for the red part of this berry. And I've actually eaten that red part, and it tasted like cherry medicine. But
So it was kind of like eating the fugu yesterday.
yeah, if you eat any part of this, it's really poisonous, so don't even try that, kids at home. And those berries have a very like slimy texture. I used to play with them as a kid and just pull them apart and stuff.
Looks like Sierra. Oh, do you miss your dog?
Yeah, I do.
A lot of very interesting house architecture here.
The house architecture here is very mid-century modern. In fact, looks very Frank Lloyd Wright. If you've ever been to Pennsylvania and seen this famous house there, it just kind of screams that, because the way that this pond kind of feeds into all these other houses, it looks like it's falling rocks or falling water or whatever the one is in Pennsylvania.
And in the adjacent pond, we saw a Chinese spot-billed duck diving through the water.
And just after, we heard the chimes of clock bells in the distance.
It was now noon, so we decided to head out of the park and bike back to the bus station.
It was an indescribably pleasant afternoon, and we couldn't get over how familiar this area felt to us despite being in a completely different country.
The houses look different from where I grew up, but otherwise, this neighborhood is just like exactly like what I grew up around. Forest neighborhoods with little houses tucked away. It's a very peaceful little town.
As we rode along, I decided to give hands-free pedaling a try, as I had learned how to do it a while ago.
Used to be better at that.
We found our way out of the woods and back to the main street, where we saw some bikers zooming by.
Do you wish you were on a motorcycle instead?
I say, there are a lot of motorcycles out here, more so than what we've seen before.
I feel like if I tried to drive on the left side of the road, I would instantly die.
Yeah.
We got back to the bike rental shop, returned our bikes, and made our way to the bus stop.
We took in the serene atmosphere one more time before the bus finally rolled up.
We hopped on board and found our seats. Now, it was time for our final stop, Kusatsu Onsen, the hot spring town.
And as we drove off, the environment still looked strikingly reminiscent of home.
It's funny how much this landscape feels like Ohio right now.
It does. It looks like you're just going to Hills.
Yeah, it looks like we're just driving out of our home neighborhood.
But before long, familiar hardwood forests transitioned into rolling blue hills.
After a moderate drive through the countryside, we approached the town.
After we got off the bus, we made our way out of the station. Just outside was a fountain with some of the natural hot spring water.
Oh, yeah. It's actually cool enough outside that this feels moderately good.
Yeah.
It's really hot.
It is.
Everything on the way to this town center was picturesque, with old-fashioned architecture and narrow, winding streets that felt more like hidden alleyways.
We neared the center of the town. Food and wind bells clinked calmly in the breeze, which we noticed carried a distinct odor.
The smell of sulfur is super strong.
Yeah.
Right at the center of town was a giant hot spring called Hida Takayama.
Oh, it's warm. It's like really hot and humid.
Oh, yeah.
I think we found the sulfur.
The water here comes out of the springs at 70 degrees Celsius or 158 degrees Fahrenheit. Long wooden conduits help cool the water down before it's distributed to various inns and public baths.
The town was beautiful, though it definitely felt a bit touristy.
This feels less authentic than the old villages we went to, but it's really, really cool.
Yeah, this is really cool.
Yeah. So many interesting buildings.
The town attracts 3 million visitors each year. Its therapeutic waters are said to be able to heal nearly every ailment except lovesickness, and have even been shown to have antimicrobial properties.
This is definitely Stockholm Syndrome, but this is starting to smell good to me right now. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's kind of nice.
The bubbling water cascaded down the rocks, stained green by thermophilic algae, and steam rose from the many pools of water.
While we enjoyed the sights of the springs, Darrell sent us a message from afar.
So there is actually a live stream of this area, and Darrell just sent us a picture of us.
After that, Thomas wanted to try his luck with a special souvenir.
All right, so tell me what I'm about to do here, Robby.
You're about to get your love fortune, I guess.
My love fortune. So we didn't get on camera earlier, but I did ask for a fortune earlier, and I got
The worst.
the worst, bad fortune.
You also tossed a coin into a shrine and it landed perfectly so it didn't go in.
Yeah, so
All right, you're bound for some good luck at this
I'm
point.
hoping that this is some good luck here.
Oh, he's digging deep. None of us read Japanese well enough to see this fortune, but I think we'll be able to get the broad strokes through.
Well then. By step you will achieve, you follow the steps. Now step it. It doesn't matter what you said. Why did you say that?
Hold on. What does that have to do with love? Hold on.
No, you tell me.
I wish Darrell was here.
How's this compared to other towns you've been in?
Much more resorty, but it's very interesting. It feels kind of fun, even though it's a nice little tourist spot.
Yeah, all the buildings here look new, even though they have a traditional architectural style. But you can tell they're all very new and modern at the same time.
On our way to the hotel, we passed by a public footbath that some other visitors were enjoying. Then we followed a narrow, mossy stairway up to our hotel, another very contemporary-looking building.
We were guided through a corridor that led to the lobby, and the hotel's sleek, modern aesthetic impressed us.
Yo, this hotel's so interesting. We never even have to leave this. Brian, when you're watching this, I'm so sorry.
This is what he wanted to do.
While we waited for the hotel to get our room ready, we found some more dogwood berries outside.
What are these, Andrew?
They're little dogwood berries. They're actually edible. You gotta blow that bug off of it. Though it looks like a virus of some sort.
Oh, it's a different color on the inside.
It's good. It's like a mild apple or pear flavor. Mushy, soggy apple. You wanna try it?
Yeah, you're really selling it, but
The skin's a little hard, but the inside's good.
Wow. That is very mushy. Nice little flavor, though.
Pretty pleasant, right?
Yeah. For a little hotel berry, that is not bad.
You want a berry, Thomas?
I'm good, thank you.
Soon, our room was ready, so we headed upstairs to check it out and get settled in.
You got a shoehorn.
I think we know who's sleeping here. Wow, this is like a blend of traditional and modern in the best way possible. This is so cool.
Yeah. It smells so nice in here, just like fresh wood and everything.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, we're not allowed in here. Like, I can tell when we come into places like this, the people who work here are like,
wow, this is awesome. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3 different kinds of cool looking robes to choose from. We should all wear a different one. Oh, they've even got socks for the sandals.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Interesting. And look, they've got 3 different types of light settings. They've got relax light.
Ooh.
They've got night light. They're running
It's
underneath
got the lights
there.
under here.
oh, yeah.
And then they have all light.
Ooh.
You want to feel relaxed.
I'm not feeling quite relaxed enough yet.
There you go.
I just need to get lower to the ground. There we go.
Sprawled out completely.
Sprawl Beto.
Splay beat up.
I've never been to Japan until now, and all I've ever heard about is the bathrooms, the toilets. And I always thought that was an exaggeration, but it's not. It really isn't. I mean, look at this beauty right here. Look
You got the accoutrements right going on here. Yeah.
How's the shower? Oh.
That is dark and mysterious.
That's a lovely shower. You know, they tell you to don't just let your dreams be dreams. Hotel archives, baby. Living the dream. So you've got the double robe action going on. Is that actually what you're supposed to wear?
They had like a little doll down at reception that they were showing. This is what you're supposed to wear. And I think they have like a brown under and a blue over. So I think this is what it is. But
well, show the inside of that. That's super cool.
Yeah, isn't that cool? They've got like a little boat.
Look at this beautiful interior of this too. This is what I'm talking about.
Man, that's relaxation right there.
Yeah. Oh man.
Show me.
They look good too. Those are nice looking outfits.
You are on this council. We do not grant you the rank of master.
What? This is absurd.
Man.
You joining us for afternoon tea?
I guess I have to now.
Get your robe on.
You know, these are giving reminiscent vibes to a previous trip we had. Can you remember which trip that might be? When we were in the south and we had those mint juleps.
Yeah. I love that. That fits perfectly in there. It's very satisfying. Definitely the best hotel yet.
Yes.
This is a good way to end it.
Yeah.
End it on
Cheers.
Cheers, but I'm not gonna drink because it's
Also, the best robe so far.
Yes.
Great robes.
Yeah, it's such a cool blend of modern and traditional. Everything is also so clean and futuristic.
It's interesting how modern and traditional masks itself almost as mid-century modern out here. It's so cool. Feel free to keep that or cut. Squeeze my mid-century modern references in.
Ooh, that's good. Be feeling really warm in a second though.
Yeah. Can we get food delivered?
It's funny because everything is like less than 10-minute walk anyway.
Look at this. It's almost shaped like a lemon.
It's really good, actually. It's like a little
It's a shortbread.
cinnamon baguette.
I don't think there's cinnamon on this, is there?
I think it's just sugar.
Oh, sugar. Sorry.
Like little granulated sugar.
That's what I meant to say.
It goes perfectly with their tea. I think the Brits are onto something. After our afternoon tea, we made a quick stop at the bus station to get our return tickets. Then, we found our way to a nearby restaurant for some dinner.
To start things off, we had some beer, a cucumber salad, and some delicious sake.
There's two foods that I always complain about. One of them is pears, and the other one is cucumbers. They're good though.
Pickled cucumbers are usually good.
Yeah, these are pickled. Much better than a regular cucumber.
Standard cucumber.
While we took in the restaurant's cozy ambiance, our next order arrived. Some grilled chicken skin yakitori skewers.
I personally think chicken skin is one of the best skewers.
It's like bacon.
Yeah. Like crispy and fatty.
Next, we had a special mushroom, prepared two ways.
Pick it up, smell it. Let me know what you think it smells like. Take a big one. Big one. Definitely has a smell to it. Like some sauce or...
I don't think Robby's sense of smell is his strongest.
Yeah. No joke, it smells like my hiking socks after a long trip. When you eat it though, it's incredibly tender in the best way possible. And it tastes very meaty, like chicken.
So Kusatsu Onsen is known for its maitake, and maitake is actually hen of the woods. This is a wild mushroom that grows in the US and I assume in Japan. It usually grows at the base of trees, like oak trees.
It smells fine.
It smells fine to me, and it has a very meaty texture. This is the hen of the woods tempura.
Wow, that is great.
I feel like tempura, it lives and dies by how fresh like the outside is. And this is probably the freshest I've had maybe ever. Actually, lots of times you get it and it's just not fresh.
One of the things I'm appreciating more about fried food is when it's been lightly fried, not a deep fry that's thick and breaded and coated, but something that's just barely crunchy. It like preserves the juiciness of everything on the inside of it.
After that were some chicken tail skewers.
So this is just like the little piece at the very end. Like when you get a whole chicken, it's got that little piece.
Yeah, it's like
at the
that
end.
soft, fatty, cartilagey part.
That is a good part.
Yeah.
It was very good. And we also had chicken thigh and green onion skewers.
The onion is just bursting with juice and flavor. That's really good.
You know, it's fun to try the exotic stuff, but there's also nothing wrong with getting like just a standard skewer that you know is going to taste good. Because it does.
Our next skewer featured some hard-boiled quail eggs with salt. Quite good. It's interesting because they actually grill it after hard boiling it. So the egg white has like kind of a harder texture, but the yolk inside is nice and creamy.
It tastes like a regular hard-boiled egg, except like the flavors are a little bit more acute. They're sharper. So because of that, it's pretty good, but I've never had an egg on a stick. This is a salmon belly.
The fattiness of the salmon just makes the skin part super crispy and delicious.
Next up was karaage, or fried chicken.
Like the tempura, this is freshly fried. Like this just came out.
Is there any joy greater than a bowl of rice with some meat in it? So good. Now came a simmered stew of tripe and hard-boiled eggs.
There's some beef tripe and pork tripe in here. There's like no tripe I've ever had.
Oh, it does have a nice texture.
Yeah, it's like tender, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess a big part of it is the mental factor. And knowing what it is, and you have like this predisposition towards it, but
And this
pretty
is
good.
Ooh, yeah. You can still taste that porky pungence, but it really does fall apart in your mouth.
There's a tea egg in here.
Yeah. Oh, okay, it's hard.
I love a good tea egg, man. That's
Right.
like a Taiwanese specialty, right?
Those flavors are almost very Chinese or Cantonese.
Lock me up.
Pretty good.
Right here, do you want to see the onsen?
Yeah, let's go take a
Let's
look.
go take a look at the onsen.
Dinner had been fantastic, and now we wanted to check out the town center at night.
Oh, look at the sky right now.
We looked around and saw Yumomi-chan, the town's mascot, out and about and taking photos with tourists. The entire Yubatake hot spring was lit up in blue and purple lights, which heightened its beauty and otherworldly appearance.
Steam swirled off the surface of the pools of hot water, illuminated by the glowing lights. It was a mesmerizing mix of tradition and modernity, a captivating blend of the natural and the artificial.
The secret to the hot springs water is its acidity, which gives it its antimicrobial properties. Studies have shown that E. coli cannot survive longer than a minute in the water, and the water can even dissolve metal over the course of days. The water is said to be particularly therapeutic for muscular and arthritic pain, skin ailments, bruises, high blood pressure, chronic illnesses, and more.
We decided to finally test the waters ourselves at a nearby public foot bath.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's hot. Whew. That's really hot.
Too hot?
Yeah.
I wonder if the different foot pools have different temperatures.
Yeah,
Because the
maybe.
other one up there, people were fine, and nobody's in this
no
one.
one is here. That was good for a 5-second dip.
I mean, there's literally steam coming off of this right now.
It's hot.
Oh my god, that's hot.
Staying in there? You're gonna turn into an onsen egg yourself.
Yeah, you know, after a while you start to lose feelings, so.
That's the nerve damage. You know, even though the town feels kind of built up and touristy, you have to remember this is a natural hot spring formation right there. Like, that's pretty impressive.
Still in pain?
Still in pain.
The bath we had tried was a bit too hot. We explored around the Yubatake a bit more, taking in the scenery while looking for a more temperate bath to dip our feet in.
My feet literally feel like they got a very minor burn. Oh. So much better. This feels lukewarm by comparison, but it's actually hot. Oh, that's nice. I feel my health being restored.
The town was absolutely beautiful after dark, and the hot steam of springs contrasted nicely with the cool night air. But after scalding our feet in the hot water, we wanted some cold, refreshing treats from the nearby convenience store.
After buying our treats, we headed back to the hotel to enjoy them.
I'm not lame. I'm cool-ish.
Dink, dink.
Ice cream Go-Gurt.
It is ice cream Go-Gurt. In terms of quality of ice cream, it's probably lowest, middle, high. And in terms of fun, it's probably lowest,
middle, high.
That's true.
I gotta say, this waffle cone is pretty damn fresh. Usually you get a store-bought waffle cone, and it's all mushy and everything. This is crispy and crunchy. I don't know how they do it.
Something about sucking ice cream out of a nipple on a warm summer day is so satisfying.
You said that like it's an experience people have had.
This is called coolish, which I think is supposed to be cool and delish. But it just makes it sound like you're not quite cool enough. You like show up with a leather jacket, but you drove like a Prius there.
You're part of Adventure Archives, but the only reason people like you is because you have a dog. You're coolish.
What if you like squeeze that onto that cake? That's not a bad idea, actually. It's like toothpaste.
What was that before, Robby? What was that before? Like, what is this originally called?
What are you doing? Eat it.
Oh, you want me to eat it? Oh, I thought you were holding it there because you wanted more.
What is that? What is that? A cake?
It's a cheesecake. Steamed cheesecake.
Oh, damn.
These are actually really satisfying. I want to eat one of these while I'm in the onsen. I just want that Caligula-like experience.
And speaking of which, it was time to check out the hotel's private onsen.
This is my mushroom foraging basket. Oh wow, it's just open sky right here.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, how much room is in there?
Not enough. We might have to take turns.
Let's just do one at a time.
I'll let you say.
This bath is a little too small for 3, let alone 2 of us.
You got room for The funny part is when we were checking in, she was like, "Oh, you should be able to fit 3 people."
So you guys got room for 3 in there?
Let's go get us some drinks, servant boy. Are we just both staying in here, or?
You guys are both just staying. To you, I don't know. I'm not getting out. There's steam coming off of you.
This is like The Witcher. When you see Geralt's feet. There's something about submerging your entire body into something warm. Feel like you're in the womb again or something. Well, the good thing is because it's not winter out, I'm not tempted to just stay in here the whole hour. I think sharing this bath actually worked out perfectly so that we each get the proper amount of time. We'll be ready for a good night's sleep after this. Near the baths was a quiet outdoor lounge that we enjoyed as we dried off.
I almost think that this terrace is better than the bath. It's probably the combination of both, right? Yeah. Once you get in and get out. Yeah.
And with that, we headed back to the room.
Feels like we're on a spaceship about to go into hyperspace. Well, good last night.
That was about as good a last night as you could ask for.
So which one's easier, guys? The Kumano Kodo or whatever the hell we just did?
I like this one.
We were on the Nakasinda today, so we could say we did the Nakasinda.
Not gonna claim that one.
I will. Goggles on, everyone.
Literally the first thing you did when you got up was, I gotta put this robe back on.
And you know, the one other nice thing about these robes, besides they just look cool, is every night in Japan you're hot, and then in the morning it's just super cold because the AC has been blasting. These robes are nice and warm though. I'm gonna steal this one. Not actually.
So Andrew could have worn the robe out last night, and he's feeling intense regret, so he's going to do it today.
Must have.
It's actually kind of funny because it's got the hotel name on the back, so it's like advertising at the same time as enjoying.
It's like, this one has pretty good robes. The robes tell you nothing about the actual quality of the inn. Or do they?
It was the 4th and final day of our train trip around Japan, but we still had a couple of things left on our itinerary for Kusatsu.
In the morning light, the hot springs looked much more understated and natural in appearance.
Something about wearing the traditional kimono made me want to do some morning kung fu.
There's actually a theory that the footwork in our style is like narrow like this because people wore long robes like this. Oh. Whereas in the other styles, you'd be down here.
After that, we grabbed some breakfast at a nearby cafe.
Nice. Oh my God, look at this, dude. I love a bakery, man.
This is what, $8?
Wow, that's incredibly cheap.
Yeah.
Jeez, it was really cheap.
I think.
It's great when you get a croissant that's not dry. They always look dry, but when they're not, oh man. As your mom would say, that is decadent.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's all great. All fantastic.
Try the red bean. Ours is a classic East Asian pastry right there.
What do you think of red bean? You like red bean?
Usually I like it, yeah.
Oh.
Depends what it's in. And
I could never have red bean again and I'd be perfectly fine.
Now, we went to catch a show demonstrating the Yumomi, a traditional way of cooling down the hot spring water.
All right, there's a second floor. We're gonna go for the top floor to get some good viewing.
温泉はもちろんのこと、浴衣歩きが楽しめる温泉街。
After a brief introductory video, performers came onto the stage to the sound of traditional singing.
Next, the performers got into position, grabbing large wooden paddles used to cool down the water.
The show had concluded, and nearby was a whiteboard with drawings by various famous manga illustrators. As the staff cleaned up the area, we headed back outside.
Yeah, you know what was impressive is those paddles are not designed to be held, like it's just a
It's
slab
just
of
a
wood.
wood, yeah.
There's no like extra handles.
Like a big tongue depressor.
Yeah.
After the show, we made our way back to the hotel.
This is an alley. Oh, it begins.
Okay, we're gonna check out, then we gotta grab a bus, and we gotta grab a train, and we'll be back in Tokyo. What would you say, a good trip? Just, I don't know.
Yeah, it was fantastic, I would say. I'm gonna rewatch it and enjoy it for the next several years.
Yumomi-chan.
We found our way back to the hotel, where we packed up and got ready to leave.
That was fast, man. Good old shoehorn.
But before leaving, we wanted to enjoy the view from the hotel terrace one more time. It's amazing to see how culture and nature kind of really blend together on this one, you know, with the hot springs and the tradition. Japan, you really see that.
I've noticed that a lot with the Japanese aesthetic is like everything's so orderly, but still natural enough that there's like some beautiful flaws within it.
Yeah, it's orderly, but it's not symmetrical.
Yeah.
It's not on a grid.
I feel like this trip with this nice full itinerary we had, we wouldn't have done that if it hadn't been for the fact that we're sharing it with other people.
That's true, yeah.
It allowed us to see so many different facets of Japan. Man, I still feel bad that Bryan can't be standing here with us enjoying this. But the plus side is now that we've done this, we can always come back and we can show him around and he can experience this maybe at a more relaxed pace.
Okay, then we gotta thank everybody again.
Yes.
Straight Back Games, thank you so much. Darrell, the ultimate fixer, thank you so much. Michael and his family, thank you so much.
And to everyone watching, thank you so much. None of this would be possible without all of you.
That's very true.
Well,
I gotta go to work on Monday. Let's go.
Do you really? Okay, let's go.
Back to Tokyo.
Our time in Japan created memories that would last a lifetime. We hadn't even left yet, but we were already looking forward to coming back. But until then, it was time for us to return home after a very long and very incredible adventure.
Okay, I got good news and bad news depending on how you want to look at it. The 11 o'clock bus doesn't run today, but we can wait around for half an hour.
Okay. Sounds like great news to me.
Yeah. Okay. I've always been curious to try this ever since I saw it in a show. They use like a ketchup-based sauce. It's kind of like sweeter and spicier than actual spaghetti, but it tastes pretty good.
Now, Kusatsu 佐津島2号上野行き13時7分に接続をしております。
Looks like the gates for our train don't open for another 15 minutes, so we're just gonna wait around for a bit, and then we'll leave about 20 minutes after that. So this begins the journey back to Tokyo. Right now, dude.
The heat?
Yeah. We thought that it was like fall weather. No. We were just a high altitude or something, because it is as summer as has ever been the entire time we were here. It feels like 100, and there's a negative breeze right now. Like the breeze is like sucking air from my body.
We're in the shade too. Like we're not even in the sun right now.
Not great, Bob. Not great.
I'm glad I'm wearing this tank top. Oh, look at this fan contraption even. You're getting 5 stars on Uber.
5 stars for my ghetto setup.
We got bread, we got rice, we got potatoes, we got asparagus, eggplant, and zucchini.
Eggplant from the garden.
Yeah. Good from the garden, yeah.
We've got 3 staple foods: rice, bread, and potatoes.
So this is a fig fresh from the garden. Mm-hmm. Oh, you can just bite into the green part and everything?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, those are good. Man, try
The gifts, they keep on coming.
Oh my god, this is so good.
Good lord, look at all that meat.
That's what I said. That's what I was like.
This is a post-hike meal for a hike we did not do.
Yes.
Is there anything better than cold watermelon? On a
No, there actually isn't. Well, there's maybe some things, but
2 or 3.
I can't remember the last time I had a watermelon that had legit seeds in it.
Oh man, that watermelon smell is so nostalgic too.
It tastes just as good as it smells.
Homegrown, baby.
Makes me think of being at our aunt's house.
Man, that is absurdly good. This is your first season ever growing anything, let alone watermelon. And look how well this turned out. Look at this, man.
These are super sweet.
That's okay. Look.
That's a good reveal.
Wow.
Wow. Cow.
I've got 8 more of these out back.
Oh man, this makes me want to take up gardening.
Yeah, this is seriously like so delectably sweet.
He was back in Ohio. He had to work.
I also got that champagne and watermelon.
Yeah.
Berry champagne
What'd you say,
on
no?
ice. Something I look so nice.
Don't put it back. Take a bite and spit it out on your plate.
Get your watermelon.
I've been waiting for you, Obi, Mary, and Gigi. The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but the learner, but now I am the master.
Only a master of evil, George Smith Vader.
Your powers are weak. You should not have come back.
You can't win, Smith. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Huh? Marianne? No!
Jasper Caps, we've been out here for 2 weeks because if your Expedition Research LLC saying we found gold, we haven't found diddly. All you done did is insult my family. You've insulted Leon and Lu Lin, Sanjay and Huang. What would Su and Tan say? I demand satisfaction.
Gavin Ryan, it's been nice knowing you.
Can't say the same for you.
This is for Christina Alvarez.
I want to give a special shout out to Dan Vulcans for all his support over the years. Did that work?
And cut.
Boy, it sure has been a long day. I kind of just want to relax and look at my phone for a bit. Maybe I'll see what's on my favorite social media app, ZipZoop. Most scientists like Renan Yvette and Joey and Mella will tell you that the Great Wall was built by humans. But if you dig a little deeper and talk to some archaeologists like Douglas Jackson, you'll find out that it was actually built by aliens. Excuse me, what's your name? My name is James Rakitsky, and what do you think about GreatLakesWatercrafts.com? Oh, I like GreatLakesWatercrafts.com. I've taken them out a few times on the water. It's pretty great. Yeah. Here are 5 things you need to know about the rap battle between Mary Sincavage and Bryan and Aussie Yamagata. Number 1, Mary Sincavage was born in 1989 in Vancouver, Canada, and she first wrote her rap. I should probably just go outside.
Colonel Kelsey Kadritis. This is Sanwar 1. I'm outside the facility. Good work, Sanwar. Special Forces led by Dan Yevgeny Borosevich Vulcans has kidnapped the President and the First Lady. David and Jennifer Dickerson, huh? Yes. Avoid detection and exfiltrate them as soon as possible. Have you found a way inside? Yeah, not a problem. I'll manage. Huh? Did I hear something? Must have just been my imagination. Colonel, I'm at the GPS location of the first family. I don't see anyone. Huh? Hello, Sanwa 1. I am Psychoplantis. I can read your every thought. What? You like Adventure Archives? What have you done with the first family? Patreon supported by Madeline Harley. What? Didn't you know? Your boss, Kelsey Kadritis. My boss, Dan Vulcans. They're all Patreon supporters. What? No. GreatLakesWatercraft.com, Douglas Jackson, Jasper Caps, Renan Yvette,
Shut up!
George Smith, V.A., Joey.
I can't shoot.
Mary Sincavage, Gavin Ryan, Marion G.G., Leon and Lou Lin.
It's no
Bryan,
good.
Aussie Yamagata, David and
I can't do it.
Sue and Ton, James Rokitsky, Sanjan Juan, Expedition
Stop.
Research LLC.
Stop talking.
And Christina Alvarez. And even you, Sanwa 1.
What? No! 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 Snake? Snake? Snake!
What is that face?